Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Game Time. I'm your host Bill Culp, and it's winter. Guess what? It's cold outside, so guess what? We came inside. Take a look at these bad boys. Yeah, I was a former NBA player. What do you think about that, Coach Talley?
I'm glad you brought it up because I noticed the new addition for the seventh year or sixth year here with Game Time that the sweatbands, the wristbands, that's a new look. I like it.
That is, it's a new
I
look.
don't understand it, but I like it.
I could have played in the NBA, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I doubt it.
Nah, probably not.
Probably not. All right, so let's get started. How many seasons have you been coaching now, and how much do you love it?
This is our seventh season, and obviously I love it, or I wouldn't be back because it's it's a big time commitment. It's all year round, so it's not for everybody. But I think at this point I can't imagine that not being part of my life and being able to come into the gym and work with our assistant coaches and the team and compete.
Attaboy. All right, I was just thinking, just out of the blue question here.
Obviously.
I was driving, correct. Winter, it's a winter sport.
Right.
Would you mind if all of a sudden Mickey called up and said, you know what, we're going to put boys basketballs in the spring? Would you mind that?
No, I actually would. I'd be fine with it. Mainly because it's tough around the holiday season. You got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got New Year's. There's a lot of time off. There's a lot of self-motivation that has to come out within the kids. So I think springtime, generally everybody's a little more upbeat and more motivated. So no, I'd be good with it.
I agree with you. It's kind of funny that you said that because it was a great answer. In the winter, like you said, holidays, you're probably eating a little bit more sweets. You're laying around a little more. It's a little bit harder to kind of get motivated. Getting up. And when it's 20 degrees out, 13 degrees.
Yeah, and the kids, that all their buddies are sleeping in till noon, and we're here at 7 a.m. for practice, and to keep that focus, it takes a special type of person to make that commitment year round.
All right, and talk about the focus. Let's get focused on your team here.
Yeah.
You lost 1,000 points scorer in Noah Baker, big offensive player. You got a lot of new faces here. Tell us about the makeup of your team. How many seniors, juniors, and kids that are coming back, and new kids you're excited to see?
Yeah, obviously Noah Baker's a huge, void in the gym these days. It's not often at Springford somebody scores 1,000 points. But you got to remember Robert Bobeck and Ryan Hagan were 2-year starters as well, and Ronan Bell was an awesome teammate. So, that combination is definitely going to be missed. But with that being said, we have a pretty good mix coming back. In more than in years past, I think we have a good balance of juniors and seniors. I think you start with Pat Kovaleski coming in for a senior season, Trey Medeiros, Tyler Schlingo, Michael Fitzgerald. That's the senior class this year. And as far as the juniors go, you got Nate Santiago. He's out there fighting for a lot of playing time. Point guard Zach Scrocky, who split time as a starter last year. And we even have some starters in the mix with Jake Cressley and Dean Wright. So, I think we're spread out through amongst 3 classes this year.
Nice. Now, I know you like a certain style of play, and every coach has a certain style. Do you have to adjust to that? Because, looking at your squad here, I would say you have a lot of guards. You're guard heavy. So are you going to kind of coach towards that this year? Again, you like the guards anyway. That's, the generals, as you mentioned, with Hagan and things like that. But do you gear your offense more towards that?
Yeah, you have to adjust. You can't just, at the high school level where, at least at Springford, you're not recruiting and kind of picking your team and what you need. You kind of have to adjust with what you got. So, yeah, I think for the most part, every high school coach has to adjust, and we're no different. And, it just kind of happens. Like, when you have a big, tall, athletic team, you're going to play a certain style, and when you're guard-oriented, then you have to adjust to that style as well.
All right, and looking into the season, we know Methacton, obviously a heavy favorite and this and that. You guys always are, up there. You're always contending, usually, perennial states and things like that. What do you feel is going to make the difference this year? Not even just, beating Methacton, but going far into, districts and so forth.
Yeah, I think the kids always have a goal. They want to compete for a league title. They want to make it to the district playoffs, and they want to make it to the state playoffs. But that's kind of long-term goals for these guys. So, but for them, it's just about being consistent, and there's going to be ups and downs, and how can we stay even keeled through the hard times, and how can we stay level-headed through the successes is a hard part, because when you're in high school, the big picture is sometimes hard to see, and that's our challenge as coaches, to kind of keep them focused on the old cliche, it's one game at a time, but sometimes it's almost got to be one practice at a time.
All right, talking about that picture, your artwork in the beginning, you like to go out of your conference and this and that, and you play tough games. What are you looking for? Who first are you playing, and what are you looking for in these first couple of games out of conference?
Yeah, we always start off with the Central Buckses, and Central Bucks South and Central Bucks West, and they're two school districts that are very similar to us in size, and so and respected programs amongst District 1. So it's a Friday, Saturday, and you're going to know real quick where you fit in, because you could go 0-2 and less than 24 hours. So, but I wouldn't change that for anything. I think the tougher schedule, it's not fool's gold, and you kind of are what you are. And I like that opening weekend, and as long as I'm coaching here, and I know their coaches feel the same way, that rivalry will continue.
All right, and I know you mentioned, obviously you love your job, you love coming out here to boys. Many people know, maybe a lot of viewers don't know, you're surrounded by girls at home.
I am.
So is it sort of like a little bit of a break coming out here and hanging out with the guys? Do you find yourself yelling at them, maybe like you would one of your girls or something like that?
I mean, the girls are big fans of Gametime, and they do go to Upper Providence Elementary, so they are aware of you and your antics, both as a teacher and as a broadcaster, journalist / entertainer and host. So it's hard for me to answer that question, because I wouldn't change my life for anything.
Yeah, no.
So this does give me a different view on things, being surrounded by girls the whole time, but it's different because these are 16 and 18-year-olds. So.
All right. One last question. Jump shooting contest.
Yeah.
Between
you?
three people.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You,
Okay.
Ben Simmons,
Yes.
and me.
Right.
Who a game around the world? Who's winning that?
Well, I would actually like to hear your response before I give you mine, because I think it's actually obvious.
I agree.
Right. So let's hear.
I'm gonna say
in order.
at this day and age,
Right.
it's probably gonna be you,
Okay.
me, and then Simmons.
I agree. Yeah. That second and third, you could probably make an argument for. I think it also depends on whether you're wearing the wristbands or not.
That's true.
So, but of those three, I'm definitely the dark, or the favorite, the chalk. Yeah.
I agree. Well, I look forward to seeing you coach this year, Coach.
Thanks for having me. Bro.
Thanks for joining there. Hey, Coach Talley, first place. Probably could beat me in a shooting contest. Maybe or maybe not. But hang in there, everybody. When we come back on Game Time, we are going to talk to Coach Sizlov and go down in that wrestling room.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist!
Use STEM to build, create,
She did it!
and change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
All right, everybody. Hope you had a good break there. We left that basketball court with Coach Talley here. We're down in the wrestling room here with Coach Sizlov. How you doing there, Coach?
Good, doing good.
Oh, yeah. So now let's talk about how many years you've been at this. This has been a while.
I don't know. I lost count. After 10, I stopped counting.
That's good. And I see you grew a beard here. Now, is there a reason for that? Or are you being superstitious, or are you just trying a new look?
I'm just trying. Maybe people won't recognize me and they won't ask me questions.
That's all right. All right, so let's get to this. You got a brand new, basically, weight room and extension here. I mean, how excited are you? What's the benefits of having a brand new room in this size?
It's great. The room gives us a lot more flexibility to do a lot more training, before we were all packed in and kids were falling over on each other, and, just the more space is helped us tremendous, being able to, add to what we're doing.
Does it allow you to kind of get like some of the younger, kids even younger in the high school and this and that, like increase the practices larger, or does it just give you more space to practice?
Just gives you more room, so you're not smashing into each other.
Yeah.
Before we couldn't all wrestle at the same time. We'd have to divide into groups, but now we can have everybody wrestling at the same time.
All right, great. Now talk about the groups. What is the makeup of your team this year? How many seniors are you looking at, juniors, et cetera, sophomores, freshmen?
We have 37 kids on the team. Probably about 10 seniors, 10 juniors, 10 sophomores, and we've got a couple freshmen in there to fill in as well.
All right, you guys have been very successful the last couple of years. You've been, going further and doing much more, sending more kids to sectionals and districts and this and that. What do you think has been the uprise in the wrestling, especially in the Springford area?
I think the commitment of people from the youth, the middle school coaches. We have, great youth people that have put a lot of time in. Our middle school staff, which Coach Kirkus and Coach Ansbach, Swire, Coach Ryan Hayes, who wrestled for me, really do a tremendous job, and then kind of just sets everything up for the success at the high school level.
All right, and you mentioned some of those coaches, and they've been here before. They know the program. Is that really beneficial? Like, do you find that that experience, that consistency, really helps in here, or do you like to see some fresh new faces in this and that?
It's good having some consistency, but it's nice, especially when you get to be older like me, to get some fresh young people in here.
All right, speaking of fresh, how do you keep it fresh? I mean, obviously we know you're in those, probably in those 20 years plus, blah, blah, blah. How do you keep it fresh every year for the practice? Not just for the kids, even for yourself too.
Just continue to learn, continue to pay attention, learn, go to clinics, watch YouTube, just pick up from people.
And when you say you go to clinics, where are some clinics and things like that? Do you go out as, state? I mean, Pennsylvania is stacked. It is unbelievable. I always say to people that it's incredible how tough this state is.
Well, we go to Penn State team camp, so we, go up there every year for a week in the summer, and we see their staff. I think 7-time defending national champions and their coaching staff. So. It's a great opportunity, and just, when you go to tournaments, you watch coaches and watch other people.
What's something when you go there that you pick up on and you're just amazed at?
Just how wrestling continues to change. As soon as somebody comes along with something new, somebody figures out how to stop it.
That's so true. It's so funny because what kind of mentality do you think a wrestler takes? Because usually wrestlers are lifers, and there's just a different mentality about a wrestler, as we can see some of the kids in the background. What do you think it takes to be a wrestler and be successful?
I think you have to be a competitive person, and it's not easy to go out one-on-one, and you have to be goal-oriented. I think if you're competitive and goal-oriented, I think it's a great sport to challenge yourself and find out a lot about your psyche and your inner person.
And speaking of yourself, you've had success. You're a successful wrestler. How is it coaching kids? Like, do you feel like you're trying to push your style on them? Is it frustrating at sometimes because you want them to wrestle like the way you did, or do you find that you're pretty even keel about that?
Well, first of all, I wasn't ever a very good wrestler.
Oh, you were.
And I show videos of when I used to wrestle and say, just don't do what I did. No, it's each kid has their own individual, strengths, and as a coach, it's our job to find out what those strengths are and build upon that.
All right, and speaking of the strengths, last question: what do you think you have to do to compete for the district and a league title and things like that this year?
Well, first we have to fill all 14 weight classes, so that's going to be a big thing. Get people at the right weight class, get them in shape, get them healthy, and then we can build on that.
All right, well, good luck to you there, Coach. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Oh, Coach Slislov, he's ready to work right now. I can smell that freshness in the wrestling room. We'll take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to go back up to the hard courts and talk to Coach McDaniel when we come back on Game Time.
Baby, you see, I cannot set you free. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go.
you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you
All right, everybody, thanks for hanging in to Game Time. I'm your host, Bill Culp. And to end our fall preview for our little section here, we're up with the girls basketball coach, Coach McDaniel. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. And you, Bill?
I'm doing fantastic. You're all shaved this year. A couple years ago, the beard was growing, so you're going to try anything different before preseason here?
No, my wife told me to clean up my act, so that's what I've done,
That's a smart move. You got to listen to the wife. All right, so talk about, with girls basketball, you guys have success in this and that, and I'm watching you doing the drills. One of the things I want to ask you, what's the benefit? Do you really find it beneficial? You got some of your freshmen, your in a sense JV team, watching and with your varsity and also practicing with them?
Well, there's definite advantage. One, the leadership that we have on the varsity that helps teach the kids that, they're just new to us, with the players, that are new to us. The benefit of them playing against the older players is, one, they know, hey, this is what is expected. This is the type quickness, speed, IQ that they're going to have to be dealing with and develop to be able to play at that level.
All right, talk about that player development and this and that. I was watching, you basically, working with the girls. One thing I was thinking, these girls a lot of the girls play almost a full year in this and that. Do you find yourself in the beginning of the year having to kind of skip fundamentals and certain things like that before maybe 15, 20 years ago when you didn't have the AAUs, you didn't have to do?
No, actually, with fundamentals, we still stick to it. Like you just saw the one drill we were doing, that's a little one-on-one drill we do. One thing Gino Oriama said in an interview not too long ago, that he was alarmed at the level of lack of fundamentals that were coming into college basketball. So quite honestly, in our program, we take a different approach. We think it's important to develop those fundamentals. In the AAU, they get maybe a lot more game time situations to work on. But to us, it's still fundamentals is number one. It has to be.
He's a smart guy. Guy. All
we're gonna listen to what he says for sure.
All right, so watching those drills, and I noticed, one of the things I liked about that drill, do you find yourself, are you trying to concentrate more, in a sense, maybe offense? You have some very offensive-minded girls here, and I know you love the defense. But do you feel like do you feel like maybe you have to adjust, like hey, Olsen, Tiffin, let's see what you can do offensively, take over a game?
Well, due to the level of offense where we feel we are at this point, our defense has to really step up to that too. So it's working because of the level of those, some of the players that we have that can get to the rim, can shoot it from three. So the defense automatically has to pick up. Defense and rebounding is still our number one focuses, but offense is 1A. And that doesn't mean we don't work on it, but we know the history's been, if we defend and rebound, we're going to be in pretty good shape. And now we have some players who can score the ball really well, so that really helps us. Hopefully that's going to help us become very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, it is a sort of an adjustment. And like I said, even your girls that won a state title, they don't have. I'm not going to say the offensive power. I don't think they have the offensive power that some of your girls have. Is that an adjustment? Like, do you kind of like, are you looking at more offensive kind of plays around that type of thing instead of just, focusing on, running certain plays? Yeah,
well, this year's team, we've kind of flipped our offense, to be honest with you. We've kind of changed it, opened it up a little bit because of the talent level that we have and what abilities they have. Again, saying they can get to the rim, and also they do a nice job kicking out and us shooting the ball from the three. And then what we want the big guys to do is just hit the glass. If you run the floor and hit the glass as a big guy, you can get 10 points a game without question. So we have changed. We've adjusted this year our offense. With the state title team and a few years after that, we kind of ran the 5-out offense, kept everybody outside the circle or outside the arc, and a little bit that kind of jammed us up some. So we've kind of tried to open it up a little bit.
All right. So, and speaking of that offense, I mean, opening it up, you got like I said, an Olsen, a Tiffin, and some other offensive players. Do you find yourself in practice worried about girls? Don't watch what they do offensively. React. Don't just expect them to make the play. Feed off of that type of thing. Do you find yourself doing that?
Yeah. I mean, one thing you've seen when you have really good players, and we've had some over the years. Sometimes other players will watch them play the game. And we, basically we tell them, if you want to spectate, it costs $3 to get into the game. But I get that where they, because of the talent level that some of the players we have. But yeah, it's to keep everybody playing, and we want to continue to play hard no matter who has the basketball. And one of the goals is we got to make it tougher on Lucy, because the other team's going to make it tougher on her. So as you know from past years, one of our goals is it's Abby Boyer's job. It's her job to make someone better. So for example, Lucy. If Lucy's working with Abby, Lucy's got to make Abby better.
Correct.
And by doing that, she's got to keep going off the ball, get to the rim. Off the dribble, get to the rim, make Abby a better defender. She's a very good defender to begin with. But at the same time, if Lucy's doing that to Abby, raising her game, Lucy's raising her own game. So that runs through the whole program. And basically our goal is, if every player can get 1% to 2% better every day, the team just got 22 to 42% better.
Well, even you just mentioned that your defense, in a sense, going up against offensive players like that, they got to be getting better. They're playing against elite offensive players. So do you see that during practice?
Oh yeah. There's no doubt that happens. And again, we have a great group of girls, and they just go after it. But you see people rising because they have to. We challenge them to stop. Maybe it's Lucy, or it doesn't matter who it is. You got to stop the person you're playing and rise into that challenge. And then we're just working on some rebounding, because we got to get better rebounding the ball right now, and we got to get better blocking out, or we call it hit somebody and then find the ball, go get it. We just got to get better with that, and so we're really focused on that. And they know, one, if they're hitting the offensive person on the block out, they're getting better, then go find the ball, but they're making the offense work to what we call get 50-50. They got to try to get beside you, even up, so now the ball is a toss-up.
Yeah, you mentioned the word, and it's funny you said hit instead of, in a sense, box out. Do you find with girls' sports, especially in basketball, do you feel that sometimes that it's the physicality, some people react so differently to it? Do you find that, hey, girls, you got to get used to getting hit? Something like in practice where some tend to back off a little bit, where others are like, oh, let me take on the challenge. Do you feel like, do you see that a lot?
Yeah, well, physicality is like rebounding. John Chaney said it, and it's so true. Physicality, it's an attitude, and you got to have that attitude. And what we see kids stepping up and get more physical because they know they have to. The one thing we got is competition. We got a number of our players who can play and who can contribute, but they also have to compete against some other people on the team, because they're all fighting for minutes. There's 32 minutes in a game times 5 players is 160 minutes, and you want to divide that up how many players? Everybody wants to play 32 minutes, and we get that too, but not everybody. It's hard for everybody to play 32 minutes.
All right, talking about that, you mentioned that because I know you love to play your underclassmen. You love to get the girls' experience. You're not like, hey, I got 7 girls, that's who plays. You love to get them experience for later on. Talk about, how do you kind of do that? Do you start off right in the beginning of the year, kind of let the girls know, hey, you're going to earn I want to see what you're made of?
Well, they're going to have to earn their time. There's no question, no matter what class they are. And the other thing that we tell the younger underclassmen is, do not defer to the upperclassmen. Do not defer. If you're guarding an upperclassman, don't defer because you think she's an upperclassman, she's better. You can't do that. And don't defer if you have an open shot. Now, I know we really preach one more, so we got a good shot here. We might get one more and get a great shot, but we don't want you giving up a great shot because you want to throw it to an upperclassman that may not have a great shot. They may only have a good shot. You know what I'm trying to say? So one of the big challenges there is to have underclassmen not defer to the upperclassmen. And with that in mind, our goal is we have 21 players this year. Our goal is to have 21 leaders. So we tell the freshmen, you have to lead. So we're working on leadership all the time, so we want them to start developing that leadership. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh, yeah, it definitely does. All right, so last question, you talk about the deferring. I know, for instance, the league is packed. You guys are always, it's really one of the best in the state. There's no doubt about it. But you guys are the lead horse. I'm sure, they're coming after you this year. How do you kind of prepare for that this year?
Well, we got to worry about ourselves. We can't worry about who we're playing. we know that we have a target on our back from the past success. We also know our division is really has stepped up this year with all the teams. And every night you got to come ready to play. If you don't come ready to play with your A game, you're going to have some battles, struggles, and you'll be in some wars here to hopefully come out on top. And our non-conference schedule, we have 3 in Florida against a tremendous bracket down there, and we have 2 showcases in Garnet Valley. So we have to come ready to go every night. And how we get there ready to go, it's what they do on the court right now. If everybody is fighting each other, trying to make each other better, and then making the team better, and then we're tight, we come together, our theme is together, so we 5 fingers, 1 fist, then we have a better chance of coming out on top in games. But we got to have leadership, we got to have enthusiasm, we got to have a work ethic, we got to have a passion for the game. All those ingredients that are important. And if we have them, we can be successful.
All right, you talked about leadership and together. I'm going to let you get back to them because you're their leader, for God's sakes. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
Oh, you gotta hear. Do you hear the passion in this man's voice? You guys got to come out and support these girls. Not only these girls, boys basketball and the wrestling. And that'll do it at this edition of Game Time. Until next time, I'm your host, Bill Culp. Have a good day.